Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mayor's Corner. Today we have a special guest with us. It's been a while. We hadn't had a Mayor's Corner because, well, with the holidays and everything going on, but January we're starting again, and this is our first one for the year. And welcome. We have Mr. Ruben Lopez. He wears many hats, even though he has a single title with the Tejano Roots organization. But, kind of wanted to bring you and speak to the public about what Tejano Roots is and how it started and the origins. I know Alice has a very healthy history about Tejano music. And not only Tejano, there's different genres that we have talented people that have moved on and placed us on the map. But Tejano Roots has been designated as Alice,
That's
Texas.
the official place of Tejano music.
Yes, so that's something to be very proud of, and I'm so excited. I love Tejano. I love what it represents. I love all the musicians. I hosted a while back. It was La Diferencia
Oh yeah.
at my home.
Wow.
We had an autograph signing at the store, and then we had a dinner. It was when Javier was.
Yeah.
He was so awesome. I loved him, and Dan Peña was with him, and
We lost some people that were very influenced in the music.
yes. But thank you for keeping it alive. And I know I wanted to have Mr. Lozano. I'm sorry he wasn't able to be here, but to give a little bit. But I won't take up. You let us know a little bit about how it started and what
Okay.
they were.
Well, first I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Ruben Lopez. I'm with the Tejano Roots Hall of Fame Museum. I'm the president and CEO of the organization. And Mayor, thank you for allowing me to be with you. I always like to talk about the organization. There's always one person that they see as when you represent an organization, but it's not. It's a whole organization, volunteers, family, our board of directors. We all have a common goal, is to preserve the Tejano roots. So I'm very excited to be here.
How did you get involved? How did it start for you?
Well, this is going to be my 14th year,
14.
and
Wow.
I attended one, and like any other business, doesn't matter what it is, even if it's a museum, it goes up and down, things like that. So I went one time, and I worked for a company called for Mr. Robert Canwell. He's affiliated with Robert Canwell Mattress.
Oh, okay.
And so my professions have been automotive, working on vehicles and things like that. So I worked up the food chain and became a manager. And he did not accept excuses. You put everything, the time that you're gonna find why you didn't do that, you could have fixed it. So I attended one, and I was like, man, at that time things were going not too good for the organization, and I said, you know what? If I had
wanna
if I
champion
if
that.
I had something to do with this thing, and I deal with a lot of people every day, and again going back to Mr. Cantwell, no excuses. That time Chrysler had a 5-star. You had to be real good at what you do, and the customer satisfaction. I said I could visual things, and so it came around, and then my primo, Mr. Juan Cifuentes, who's one of the original also ones from the museum,
Oh.
said, Primo, come over here and this and that. So I went, and of course I come from a music background. Not a musician or anything. I love it. I have accordions, bajos. I don't play it. But my dad was a very known musician, played with a lot of great conjuntos from this area and from the valley in San Antonio. And I said, I'm going to join. And then one thing led to the other one. They saw the leadership that I brought to the organization. And of course, again, like any business, it had its ups and downs. So they started seeing what I could do. Of course, if anybody knows me, I know a lot of friends, and I started calling people, hey, we're having a fundraiser. And they've never had something like that. And it grew. And it grew and it grew. And of course, we went to another up and down. And I left for about 3 weeks, 4 weeks. And then, of course, you got taxes. IRS, and people they weren't staying up with that. And I talk about this because I always want them to understand that now that it is where it is, it wasn't easy, and so they got letters and they did this and they kind of here's this project. So
Yes.
we did, and I said, you know what, everybody needs to leave, and so we got a new board. My brother's involved, Mr. Noe Lerma's involved, of course, Mr. Joel Lozano. So I brought some people that had the vision, and then I have started saying, well, we need some people that represent us in different cities. So we had some other people go so they can be our contact from that and bring musicians over here. So there was not too many people attending this organization, this kickoff dance and awards, and so once we got the group and all that, it just started, and I couldn't find people that wanted to come play for us.
Oh, really?
It was hard because again, it went up and down for whatever,
And I know that when I first moved to Alice back in 94 or so, I remember I was like so impressed that there were bands that were coming to Alice and playing El La
yeah.
Vida. And, just the different genres too, but I was always so impressed. I was like, wow, how cool,
This is an organization that everybody recognizes. So when we brought it up, every year started more bands,
Getting more and more.
and so I talk about that so people can understand how it was when I took it over. And we I can tell everybody, when it shines, we're all shine, and when it doesn't do, I'm the person that you're going to blame. But we got to talk about the founders, which was Mr. Javier Villanueva. And there's a lot of stories that go around that they were just talking, and I always kept a piece of paper and I write my notes, and they started this, and how about this idea, and they got so excited. Then of course Rito Silva and Tony Morris and other people that were involved, and they all did their parts. And of course JV, who doesn't know JV,
Yes.
Very influenced in the music, had a couple of clubs here, the radio. Who couldn't miss him? He was a big boy.
I got to meet him, and I hosted some of the things for the radio. We did shopping sprees at the store. I was a manager, a store director at the old Handy Andy.
Andy, yeah.
So we hosted some of those for him and autograph signings, and it was really neat.
It took off like a rocket, and they had everything. Unfortunately, he got sick and he had to kind of step back a little bit, and they had some other people go in there and try their best. But JV was the face of the Tejano roots, and so it went through the whole thing. And right now, this is the award that you want to get. This is an award that you receive one time, and we'll talk about that, and we'll talk about some stuff. But that's kind of how I got involved. And I didn't think I was going to be here this long. One of the things that was a big influence was my mother. And so mom told me, and mom was a supervisor. My family, my brothers and my sisters, were all been supervisors. And so that's what mom put in us, and we've always worked hard to get where we want to get. And so that helped that, and then family and my mother was the backbone of this organization when she was here. And so we since mom passed, we've had some other people step in and really help me, because I tell always people, I'm not the easiest person to be around, when we're doing that, because I want perfection. I want to make sure that it's done right, and I go back to my old boss. It always triggers back, even in my business, anything that I do. The time that you're going to find an excuse why you didn't do this and that, we could have fixed it. So the first award was done in 2000, and the last one was just happened in 2022.
Yes,
So-
and I wanted to go so bad. Oh, I had family.
Yes, and I hope everything's doing well.
Yes.
But JV, when he was going up and down, his son Javier Antoine is married to my sister.
Oh, really?
So
Oh,
he was involved, and he always comes, and we have an award. It's called the Javier Villanueva Lifetime Achievement Award, and we do give it to certain people that have a lot of influence and impact in the music industry, that they do their part. And this year, David and Sandra Chavez, those are the ones that received this year, and then there was another one. But they are the ones that hold the Las Vegas convention. And they've been
okay.
doing it for 19 years, and it's big. I mean, from everywhere, California,
Really?
all that. They're out of Kansas, so they have different things, venues that they do. But the Las Vegas convention is the one that's really known. That's where every new bands, everything, and it's like a 3-4 day thing. So they received, and we wanted to have that award so people won't forget JV. So the son, since day one, gives it out. So we've had a lot of candidates that have gone through and they receive it. So it was an exciting time at that time, in those 2000.
going back to the awards that you held just recently, is there, what kind of categories, or how do y'all?
We have
how did you
the
get
categories. We have, of course, El Hijo del Pueblo. It's somebody that could be a musician, radio personality, whatever. They're local from Alice. So some of the people that, well, I'm a bajista. I like to be in the bajista category, but we want to get one of our own. So we have the Son of Alice, and then of course we have the Conjunto Progressive, like the Chamacos, and then we have the traditional Conjunto, which is like Dodo Gilberto's, Chano Cadena, Rene Jocelyn. Those are your Lorenzo Hernandez. Some of these names that when they see this, they'll remember. And so we have those, and then we'll have a couple of different special awards. They have a title on top of them, like the Great Paredes Bajo Sexto Award. The gentleman was very known in the music industry, in the conjunto music industry. So we wanted to recognize he's out of Corpus Christi, played with many of the conjunto bands. And then, of course, we go to the $1 Million bands. Of course, you have the keyboard player, the saxophone, the guitar, the drums, the bass, different anything that, like the big band band, that has multi-instruments. And so in each category, we have bios that are brought in, and this year we had 150. So people tell us, you'll have one or two. How come you all do that? And I said, okay, so let's pretend that you're a musician, you're a guitar player, and you just turn in yours, and you want me to pick one or two. So every year before you, let's go 5 years. And every 5 years, we had 10 of them, So 5 times 10, how many? 50. By the time you get there, it's going to take you a long time to be recognized. You could have all the years. And so we have to make sure that we represent the whole United States. So when we grab some, if we get 15, we'll try to bring down to 7. And by the time we're at where we're at, which would be 65 or 70. And that means 75 didn't make it, So that's the hardest. We read everything when people this and that, and of course we'll get calls, and they'll start kind of getting after us and bye. But it wasn't because they didn't make it. And when I let them go ahead and tell me your 5 minutes of
venting.
and then I said, okay, so basically it's about you, right? And did you ever return that bio? No. Well, then why? The first step, we don't just decide and have a beer and says, okay, we're going to put this, and we got it. We have to read all of them, and we try to make the best decision we can. And that's something that the bylaws from day one, and we are following it, but we kind of brought them up because a lot of the stuff that most of the time was only the main person up front, the Joe Lopez, the main guy of the band. So you've had the bass player, the guitar player, the keyboard player, the drummer. They all travel the same way, the same as the main singer. And then we start.
wanted to have more representation,
Right. So they say, well, man, I'm part of this big band, and I've never received that. And I'm talking about known bands that you have musicians that have never been over 25, 30 years. But the main artist has multi awards. Then we sat down and we're thinking about what else makes this band. Well, you have the sound engineer. The sound engineer doesn't get there way before the other ones to set up the speakers and all that stuff and tweak it and all that. And when they start, they got to make it sound the best quality they can. And now from a regular analog digital board, they went to a digital board to eliminate a lot of the equipment that they had, compressors and EQs. It's all on that board. And then we started figuring, okay, what else has something to do with the promotion of this music? Radio personality. You know, a long time ago, there was a lot of radio stations, and they got sold out from Mexico. And there was Cucuca, Quedera, Alice, all that stuff. And so some people had 14 years, 12 years, but then everything went to the internet. A lot of it. So you got people from Arizona, all over the place, that are still doing what they were doing in a radio station, but they don't have a radio station. So we brought personality. And then you have people that are very involved in this thing, like Rogelio Cuellar, that used to do the Hispanic, you know, downtown. So we have a special recognition for people like them that are not musicians, but if you've been part,
contribute.
oh yeah, if you don't know, if you've never been part of what it takes to make a festival, to raise the money, to make sure that it's free, to know, it's a lot of work. So
sure.
we like to recognize, and of course, right back in our backyard, La Villita. So we have the Armando Marroquin hall.
Was his sister also involved in music? Because
Carmen.
Yes,
Carmen.
I heard
We have actually a picture of both sisters. That's something that when people come in here, like they had Ideal Records, and everything that I, when I'm speaking about something, people say, "Well, man, it seems like this guy knows a lot." But you know what? I was about rock and roll, going back how I started. I was rock and roll. Everybody, even my friend, Ruben, what are you doing over here? But my mother, if you are from born in '67 and prior and all that stuff, if you lived in a home like we did, a small home and everything, loved and everything, Mom would wake up and with this much of a chorizo, feed everybody.
Oh yes.
And maquillon and everything, and beans, whole beans, and smashed beans, and todo this. Right. So you had that radio.
Yes.
And the conjunto and all that. Of course, my dad was playing. So you remember those conversations, and Mr. Juan Cifuentes, very known here in Alice, was relayed to me and to my mother, and at that time, everybody told me, like, I was rock and roll.
So it runs in your blood, even though
I mean, I had all that. My dad would go and play with Ojiberto's, and then John travel, and I mean, nowadays you mention those names a little bit. Oh man, your dad played with him? Yes. Dad was just dad for me, you know. And so my mom worked for Hager Slacks, got paid on Thursdays, in the concerts at the Coliseum in Corpus. So I was a spoiled one. So I got to go everywhere to see concerts. So everybody's like, "What are you doing there?" And I said, "You know what? I after thinking about it and the whole thing, it's just something brought me to what I'm doing now, you know." And it's I love it every day.
Like my grandmother cleaning house, she would have the stereo going, you know, and Agustin Ramirez, just different.
Carlos Guzman,
just different.
Rene.
Yes.
You know, Tejano Roots used to have, and I got to go also with my parents. They used to have the casino in the boat. Remember?
I don't remember.
Well, there was the cruise, the casino cruise in Corpus many years ago. So they would go travel twice a day, and in the afternoon you would buy tickets, and they would come with a meal, and it's kind of like the chamber here, the meeting room, and they would have a stage. So there estaba Laura Canales, René, Carlos Guzman, and so they would perform while you would go out into the seas. I mean, and talk, I mean, and then you could gamble, and so I got to attend a couple of those, and so the Tejano Roots really put, the stamp in Texas.
In Alice.
In Alice,
With the little,
which is the birthplace of Tejano music, and you have the South Texas Conjunto Hall of Fame, and you have other organizations, but nobody can say what we can't say. And when Rick Perry, in 2000, I believe, or something like that, built, I think it's 1019, declared Alice, Texas. So nobody can tell, even though San Antonio, you go to San Antonio, the same song in San Antonio is played different. You go to the Valley, it's kind of because we're close to the Valley. But you take this somewhere else, and it's different. And so that's kind of how I started, where I'm at, who had influence in me, where I came from, what am I doing here? But
and the museum that we have close to, well, it's near downtown.
right where the old
there.
hospital.
Yes, now we're gonna have that apartment complex coming
exactly.
up. But when is it open, or how can someone go and just kind of get a little bit more history and learn about?
Well, the
some of
museum, before the COVID, we would open on Saturday. And then when the COVID was still kind of course, in that time I was sick. And then a lot of people, and I'm a straight out shooter. I don't care who it is. And sometimes people like me, some people don't like me. So people don't know exactly what happens. I have Winter Texans that when we used to have a chamber here, they would call us and say, Ruben, I got this bus coming through here, or I got some people coming that want to visit. So I would get in contact, okay, and we would do special tours and things like that. And we have had schools also. And then when things got worse with the COVID and things like that, then we would do by appointments. And then and sometimes I just go in there and I just kind of sit back and think about what I want to do. And as soon as you see the museum, people will come,
Yeah.
So
would someone call you?
Yes,
And
yes,
do you have a number you would like to share?
yes, you can contact me at 361-765-3523 or email me at rltejanoroots@yahoo.com.
And that way, if you do have a group that would like to learn more about the Tejano and our roots and our history, they can go and tour the museum. Is there a charge, or is it by donation?
It's a donation. I know they used to charge, but I just kind of leave it to them to donate.
Okay.
As soon as we have a tour, something like that comes out, or Winter Texans, I got the best teacher, which is Mr. Joe Lozano. So I'll call him, Joe, we have this Winter Texans, and I want you to come over here. I want you to talk about the records, how the records were made, and the recordings, and World War II, because they used to do the vinyl, and how they, there's a lot of history that people don't know. And so
it's good to keep that alive. Because
everything's original. How when I got the key, and I leave it alone because that's how JV, other people that were put it together. We have certain things that people don't have. We got some dresses of Laura Canales. We have some Little Joe, some awards. So we have
Laura Canales was known as
La Reina.
La Reina
out of Kingsville, Texas. Died. She wasn't supposed to die. She was just a routine surgery, what I understand. But, Alice is surrounded by a lot of history. You had a lot of people that were influenced in that time. And you had the Javelina, in Kingsville. La Villita. Joe Lozano would do the Monday night dances. Now, I don't know if it work or not, because a lot of those people that we used to go, you're older and things like that, they've gone to a better place. But Joe would always say, Ruben, you had all this artists. So you have an artist, charge this amount. So they would come from up north, and they would get a gig in San Antonio on Friday, Saturday in the Valley, or Sunday, and then on the way back, they would say, hey, come play for me. So he would do it from 8 to 12, and if they were from out of town, he would let them play the first, and they would pick up just a little enough to offset the expenses. So those 2 gigs or 3 gigs, whatever they had, were really good. But at that time, they weren't charging what they're charging now, you know? So,
But I think we still need to bring some of that. I think people would love to have some
we had an amazing award ceremony, and we're going to bring something downtown Alice. And
is that for the Cinco de
the Cinco de
Mayo?
Mayo. So every year we have inductees, and we finish, and it's hard work, and we're tired, and I said, how in the world are we going to have another one like this next year with the performances, with everything? And I'm like, man, we got the names,
And
the people that
this
know.
is free of charge, correct?
Which
the
what's that?
Cinco?
Oh,
Is that-
yes.
Cinco de Mayo is free of charge, so, you know, the way you get support is through sponsorship, VIP.
We have sponsorships that when you purchase a sponsorship, we only do just one amount, and you get 2 tickets, you get to our VIP, and got to rub the whole thing. But going back when I started about the organization being successful, what it is right now, it's not only myself. I did this, I did that. I'll say it sometimes to some of my volunteers, and they know that I'm
They're
just
gonna say,
playing.
what about me?
But I'm just the face. There's a lot of work, a lot of things. I'm very aggressive when we do that, because we that criticism that you get on the whole thing, if it's a good one, we're gonna do something. If it's one of those just because whatever, blow it off. But we couldn't do it with our continuous sponsors from day one since I was there. And we couldn't get them because of whatever happened before. I said, guys, I can't explain what happened. All I can tell you is I'm here. You know me. I want to keep this thing. I want to mom-like festival. That's why we celebrate. This was our festival, and then and we want to continue. So I want to go back, and people know me. I jump back and forth. So if you say, well, this guy was talking about, now we're going back. But the awards that we had, and every year, we are amazed of how many people we haven't touched that have so much history. And it's a big party reunion for them. Oldest that we recognize has been 91 years old.
Wow.
And unfortunately, a couple of months he passed away. And so going back about the Cinco de Mayo, we had a tribute to Laura Canales.
Did you?
And it was awesome. The stage was, we had Sound Salsera. We had Los Hermanos Cuatro. They were from Arizona, full-blown Indians.
Really?
And if you look at them, son Mexicanos, but they're Indians. They Casino del Sol, and a couple of them are they're upper management and all that stuff. And if you like Ramon Ayala,
I love Ramon.
so when they started, and when they started Los Tigres del Norte, they play all type of music, Culto Bernal. When they started, I thought I was hearing a CD, but that's how good they are. But we're spoiled that if they're not from South Texas or Akeem, anybody else, we don't give them a chance. And the music, the song that I was talking about, song here, California. What can happen in California? They have, like Alice, Texas, and with Facebook and media, you'll see, hey, that looks like Alice, a little park. They're doing festivals, they're doing this and that, and it's just a different way they play it. But the love for the music, and we have inducted people from more that Los Mexicanos, they migrated up there. And so it's all over the United States. It's just, if you don't think outside the box and you just thinking that only Alice, Texas, and the people here, and that's it. No, there's a lot of musicians out there, and we have not even, the 14 years, whatever I've been, we haven't touched anything. And every year I always tell them, the inductee, your job from here now on is to go find somebody that you play for so many bands, they gotta be somebody that you know that's been on the road with you, that now you know how it feels to receive this award one time. When you receive it so many times, kind of loses its value. You know, why it comes, what it means. And guess what? They do that. And so we're very excited. Going back to the Cinco de Mayo, our sponsors and things like that, we couldn't do it without the city of Alice, the mayor, the city council, because it takes a lot of money. You know, these bands, they're not cheap, but we don't pay what other people pay because they're inductees, and that's something that I tell them, hey guys, work with us.
Yeah.
You know, I tell them, I said, well, Ruben, you know, this and that. But I said, man, it's a free thing that we'd like to give back to the city of Alice, to everything. My mom would always say, you know, it looks nice when you have people coming from the high rise, people that cannot afford what we can afford, to see these bands.
To travel
And so that's something that stayed in my heart, something that will continue as long as I'm healthy and we can do that and have the support of the city of Alice and the council. But we worked really good to get this, and people enjoy it. We have a barbecue contest for the Rosa family that they lost their mother and, of course, their brother. Oski was one of my first people that helped me with sponsorship, and he loved music, and then we lost Miss Rosa, and so we do the barbecue in honor of them, and we do the whole festival. Well, actually, both is all to recognize their mom and everything. So I have my family comes down, they take care of my bar, and things like that, and of course the grandkids that are raised in Dallas, so they don't get to see our culture here. And then when they came this last time, they saw the little lights and all that. So
Yeah.
we explained to them what our culture is.
And I think that's the main thing, and just getting the word out and keeping that cultura, the Tejano roots just alive, to know where it originated, how you're working very hard with your volunteers, with your board, and we thank you for that, because I think it's important to keep that alive, and for the younger generation to get to know. Some people don't know, some of the younger generation don't know what Tejano roots is, and how hard it was. It wasn't as easy to get that type of music on the air, for people to receive it. We weren't allowed to play in certain facilities or area, you know, we were restricted a lot. So it's grown throughout the years. So keeping this history, letting the future generation get exposed to that music, I think it's important, and keep it alive. I remember the first Tejano Music Awards in San Antonio. I attended that. It was so exciting. With La Mafia, they won everything, that whole category, and Laura Canales was very popular, and so just it's nice that we here have a piece of that history, and for our younger generation to get to know and learn about that history is important, because that's how we'll keep it alive and honor those that came before us.
We're very lucky. We had a gentleman, Amadeo Flores. We actually have an award that represents the accordion. Those inductees that receive that are on the they're like 60 something, because he was an older gentleman, but he showed a lot of people here now how to play the accordion. And Albert Canales, I believe that he took some lessons from that, Junto Oro. So now you have Ricky Naranjo, Los Gamblers, which is Ruben the Third, I believe, which his father was, his grandfather was Ruben Naranjo. Everybody knows. That was the era of Tony La Rosa, Alfredo La Rosa, Rene Jocelyn, Lorenzo Hernandez, Isidro Lopez, all that era right there. So Alice, Texas has great musicians, young musicians like Albert. Albert has New Oro, Junto Oro, or Un Nuevo Oro. And if you have him in your Facebook, you'll see him that he goes to Florida. He goes up north. He goes to Mexico. you know. So they're not going to take you over there if you don't have something that they want to hear, because we're spoiled. We got them here. We can hear them anytime, but they will go and travel out there, and they'll be Najida. You know, they'll be out there 3 days, and they'll come back. You know, they'll go to Arizona. They'll go to casinos. Now, Eagle Pass has concerts there. So now people says, you know what? Instead of me going to Vegas, I'll go to casino. I can see a great band, and we never take credit for anything. We're here to promote all type of music.
Sure.
And one that we're very excited is Mr. Robert Ray.
Oh,
You know,
yes, our
and,
very
and
own.
Robert Ray was Mr. Councilman Molina.
Yeah.
His son, he was playing at here Indigo. Rick Molina, of course, Rick's been in business many years, and I saw him and I heard him and saw him. And, you know, he was doing this. I said, man, I can see him. I can see him. So me and Robert are good friends, and of course, when you don't hang around together, and then finally you see it, when you talk to somebody like that, and like me and you're talking, that's friendship right there. And so we gave him an opportunity to play at the Tejano Roots
Yes.
because we have. I said, you know what, I'm going to give him an opportunity. I may get a little, but I don't care. We're here to promote, and he got
Well,
this.
he's local too.
He's local.
So.
He got to perform with Jaime Los Chamacos twice. He got to perform for the induction ceremony twice, and then we brought him. We brought him one time, and he was just growing, and then he got the Domingo Live, and Rudy Trevino, and we got him in there, and he recorded with there in Robstown, and then after that, it's all him. That's why he's loved. He's done very well for himself.
My son and he played together in football. They went to school, so he's got a little piece of my heart.
Oh yeah, and so Robert's country, and that's where he went to. But the last Cinco de Mayo, he performed for us in Alice, and he was like, "Well, this and that," and so
Did
he
he try it? Did he-
Oh no, he played with us, but now he brought a popurrí de Rubén Naranjo. So
Oh,
now he
really?
has accordion. So it just depends where he's gonna play, things like
Yeah.
that. And man, people just go crazy, and then he'll come back and finish with the country. But he's just a great gentleman, very respectable,
Very respectful.
and I'm glad that he's here in Alice now. But we've had a lot of influence with a lot of Tejano conjunto or country,
Well,
and it's
I
it's a
just,
great-
yeah, I just want to thank you for keeping that alive, and especially bringing that focus to Alice. You know, that's a special piece of Alice that no one can remove, and
oh no.
we appreciate that. And then having the museum here and keeping that alive, keeping the Tejano music alive, and not only Tejano, because like you said, it goes into other genres. You've got your norteño, you're just different. So we just want to thank you for that, and continued success. And God willing, you'll continue to have that support that you need for the
Yes,
Cinco de Mayo.
yes, it's
and-
coming up already. It's coming up
So,
already.
just everyone, if you haven't gone to the Cinco de Mayo festivities, come on down. It's free. Learn about the music, visit the vendors, and just enjoy the cultura that we have
Culture,
to,
yes,
to
yes.
embrace. And like they say, Alice is gente buena.
Gente buena. That's right.
And we are, and yeah, we have our little stuff, but we come together when we need each other.
Yes.
And that's what Tejano, that's what the Latino, that's what we,
Unite, we
that's
need
our
to-
culture.
yes, yes.
That's our culture. Yeah, sometimes we'll get mad, but no, we come back together. When we need to be together, we're strong and we come together.
Imagine if we would work more together, what we could accomplish. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, like my board of directors, you know, believe me, we do have like any other organization or whatever, but at the end we know that we're trying to represent the organization the best we can and to bring things like that. I wanted to say that this last event that we had, you couldn't find a hotel here.
Really,
You
that
could
is
not put that
awesome.
hotel.
And I'll tell you, I appreciate that because having these type of events also, and when you use hot funds, that's the purpose of it, to
Yes.
create the tourism, to create the hotel, mainly to create those overnight stays. So when you fill the hotels, it helps
Oh,
them
yeah.
and
Food,
hopefully-
gas.
Yeah.
I forgot my comb, my brush. I don't like what I'm wearing. So we're very excited, and we had a lot of people from the internet, worldwide internet for the soldiers, and then and the ones that come over here. I make sure that we have that because we promote it. We have military. I'm a big supporter of military. My grandfather was military. My mom's side was military. And I want them, if they can't be with us, at least they can hear the awards. And they'll hear the live performances and all that. But the internet and the people that they all come, they've been coming since day one.
Yeah.
And they're coming and coming and coming and coming and coming until we get so many people in those 2 days, even 3 days,
That's
so.
awesome. Well, I know we could go on forever
Oh, yeah.
and talk about this, and I love it. I love, again, la cultura que trae, you bring to Alice. Mr. Lozano, his history.
Oh, yes.
All the background. So if you have a chance, visit the museum. Do you want to give your number
Yes,
out again one more time?
Of course, before we go, Mayor, thank you.
No,
Thank
no.
you to the whole council, citizens of Alice. My name is Ruben Lopez. I'm with the Hunter Roots Hall of Fame Museum. I'm the president CEO. And if you like to contact me, you can reach me at 361-765-3523. And don't forget that our next project event will be May 5th and 6th, downtown Alice, absolutely free to the citizens of Alice and surrounding areas. And it's something that we're very excited to do because we want to give back to the citizens, and we want to make sure that we represent the city of Alice in everything that we do. So again, we haven't said it to you, Mayor, and to all the council. Thank you for supporting us, and you play a big part in our success in both our events that we do.
Well, thank you. We appreciate you and all organizations out there and just promoting Alice. So don't forget, if you want to come by, visit the museum, make your appointment, and learn a little bit of that history and that culture that we're so proud of. So again, thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll be talking soon next month. I'll have my next Mayor's Corner. So see you then. Thank you. I hope everyone's
See you.
doing well. Thank you. Bye-bye.